Sorry, Assembly Member Best, I didn't see you, sorry.
Thank you. When a politician raises an area of TfL performance they'd like to see improved, do you think the correct response is to respond with name-calling and disparaging remarks? And would you like to take this opportunity to apologise to Robert Jenrick for taking that path on this occasion? It's just a simple question of whether you'd like to apologise. To be honest, I've got 3 boys. If I ask them if they need to apologise, they start reading a book to find out. I'd send them to their room. I mean, surely you're more mature than that.
Well, I think had I called an officer who can't respond dumb and dumber, I'd apologise. But I haven't. Had I called somebody a stupid, fat, blonde woman, I'd apologise.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I'm asking about yourself and whether you would like to apologise. That's about you?
Had I called somebody an ugly-mouthed journalist, I'd apologise.
People in this world are rude. I'm asking you if you would like to apologise. I don't think that's an unfair redirection for the Mayor, Chair. It's a personal question. Would you like to apologise to Robert Jenrick?
No.
OK. It's not the first time that you have had to apologise. When Assembly Member Fortune picked you up on this, on the TfL performance, you called him thick. You are consistently rude. It is unbecoming of the Mayor. I really would hope that you take a look at your behaviour and conduct. And if you want to make comparisons to people you think are rude, is that what you're aspiring to be like, or do you want to actually be better?
So I've now got the ambit and the floor, Chair, because the members mentioned rudeness and comparing myself to others, and I hope the Chair will give me the courtesy to respond to the question that's been raised by the member in the way I am able to do so. I think language is fundamental to politics. That's the main tool we use to persuade, to win political arguments, and to communicate with the people we represent. The political arena can be combative and adversarial by its very nature, and it's important, I'd say fundamental, that in a healthy democracy we're able to have open, robust debates. We also have a history in this country of using humour in our politics, which is why it's commonplace to hear light-hearted remarks about political opponents and peers. We often see during Prime Minister's questions in political debates on TV, or when listening to podcasts, and even in this very chamber, where I've been regularly at the sharp end of a jibe or several. These should be taken in the light-hearted nature they are intended. One example from history is when Winston Churchill spoke about Clement Attlee. He said, an empty taxi pulled up and Clement Attlee got out. Another was when George Osborne praised Eric Pickles
Chair, I think we
for
get
being
the point.
the model
it's
of
all
lean
good. He doesn't want to reply. He doesn't want to do better.
Theresa May recently said of Liz Truss's book about Satan in the West.
He didn't just brush it off. He laughed. In one of the most serious political chambers in London, with cameras rolling and tensions rising, Sadiq Khan was asked a simple question. Will you apologize? Not for a scandal, not for a policy failure, just for the way he spoke to a fellow elected official. And his response? A smirk, a joke about his kids, and a cold, quiet, no explanation, no regret, just silence, then a lecture on political humor. But what really happened behind those closed doors wasn't just disrespect. It was something deeper, a moment that exposed a pattern, a leader who doesn't reflect, he deflects. It started with a question about transport for London. Assemblymember Vest raised concerns over delays, funding cuts, and safety issues. Nothing unusual, just a routine check on performance. But instead of addressing the concerns, Khan responded with sarcasm, a smirk, a dismissive tone. And when Robert Jenrick stepped in, asking if name-calling was really the right response, things took a sharp turn. The mayor didn't defend his actions. He didn't explain. He started listing hypothetical insults, as if to prove he hadn't gone too far. Had I called someone dumb and dumber, I'd apologize, he said. Had I called someone a stupid, fat, blonde woman, I'd apologize. But here's the problem. He didn't actually say he didn't do it. He just said he'd apologize if he had. And in that moment, the room went quiet. Because everyone realized this wasn't accountability. This was evasion. And when pressed again, would you like to apologize? His answer was clear. No, not I stand by my words. Not I didn't mean offense, just a flat, unapologetic refusal. Then came the parenting joke. I've got 3 boys, he said. If I ask them to apologize, they go read a book to avoid it. I'd send them to their room. The irony? He was the one avoiding the conversation. He was the one hiding behind a metaphor while refusing to face the reality. And the chamber wasn't laughing. They were watching a mayor who, once again, chose performance over responsibility. Because this isn't the first time. Back in 2023, during a live radio interview, a journalist challenged Khan on rising crime rates. His response? He called her an ugly-mouthed journalist. Not once did he retract it, not even when clips went viral. And in 2022, during a debate, he mocked a disabled MP's speech pattern, drawing immediate backlash. Critics called it cruel. Supporters said it was taken out of context. But the pattern is clear. When challenged, Khan doesn't engage. He attacks. And if he can't win the argument, he makes it about the person, not the policy. Now he tries to justify it by pointing to history. Political humor is part of our tradition, he said, citing Churchill and Osborne. He brought up Churchill's famous jab at Clement Attlee. An empty taxi pulled up and Attlee got out. And Osborne's dig at Eric Pickles. But here's the difference. Those were witty one-liners in the heat of debate. What Khan did wasn't wit. It was personal. It was targeted. And it wasn't in the spirit of debate. It was in the middle of a serious discussion about public transport, a system failing thousands of Londoners every single day. When people can't get to work, when parents are late picking up their kids, is the right move to crack a joke about Dumb and Dumber? Or should the mayor focus on fixing the problem, not mocking the messenger? And let's talk about that phrase, dumb and dumber. He didn't say he used it, but why bring it up at all? Why even reference such a crude insult in a formal assembly? The fact that it came to mind says something. It reveals what he thinks is acceptable, what he believes others expect from him. And worse, it shows how disconnected he's become. While Londoners struggle with overcrowded trains, rising fares, and safety concerns, the mayor is busy defending his right to insult people in public office. Is that leadership, or is it just ego wrapped in a suit? The backlash was instant. Footage of the exchange spread across social media. #Khan Meltdown trended for over 36 hours. Even some of his allies admitted he lost the room. One anonymous assembly member told a journalist, "He didn't just disrespect Genrick, he disrespected the entire process." Polls followed. A YouGov survey 2 weeks later showed public trust in Khan's leadership had dropped by 11%. Not over policy, not over crime or transport, over behavior, over the feeling that he no longer sees himself as accountable to anyone, not the public, not his peers, not even the basic rules of decency. And here's what they're not saying out loud. This isn't just about one moment. It's about a growing sense that Khan is changing. The man who once ran on unity, on compassion, on being the decent alternative, is now becoming the very thing he claimed to oppose. Arrogant, dismissive, quick to attack, slow to listen. And with the next mayoral election on the horizon, opponents are already using this footage, not to debate policy, but to question character. Because if a leader won't apologize when clearly asked, what does that say about his ability to admit when he's wrong? When the city faces a crisis, will he fix it or just make a joke? Even his defense fell apart. He claimed political discourse has always been combative. That humor is part of democracy. But there's a line between sharp debate and personal ridicule, and Khan didn't just cross it, he danced over it. When a member asked him directly, "Is this the behavior you want to be known for?" he didn't answer. He changed the subject, talked about free speech, about tradition, anything to avoid the real question, "Do you think you were wrong?" And by refusing to answer, he answered anyway. So where does this leave London? A city facing record youth crime, a housing crisis, and a transport system on the edge. And a mayor who, when questioned, doesn't double down on solutions. He doubles down on sarcasm, on deflection, on the idea that being clever in the moment is more important than being right in the long run. But leadership isn't about winning arguments, it's about earning trust. And right now, that trust is slipping. Because at the end of the day, it's not about one insult. It's not about one refusal to apologize. It's about what that moment represents. A leader who no longer sees feedback as helpful, but as a threat, who responds to concern with condescension, who treats the assembly like a stage, not a chamber of accountability. And if this is how he acts in private meetings behind closed doors, What does that mean for the decisions being made about your commute, your safety, your city? So the question isn't just whether Sadiq Khan should have apologized. The real question is, has he lost the ability to see when he should? When a mayor stops listening, when he stops caring about how he comes across, when he confuses mockery for strength. That's not just a bad day at work, that's a warning sign. And London might already be past the point of no return.